So what's really possible with AI filmmaking? Welcome back to the channel where we discuss the creative uses of AI, and we're breaking format a little bit today, doing something a little bit special because recently MIT held its AI Film Hack, which is where teams of AI creatives gather together over the course of a couple of days, and in that couple of days use available tools to create an AI film from start to finish. There were dozens and dozens of entries of all styles, and one of our partnering friends, OpenArt, was actually a judge and involved in this whole hackathon. And they asked me to join them in a different kind of video collaboration where Helena from OpenArt and I watch some of these films and do a little bit of commentary. Not just like, hey, this is good or this is bad, but talking about the techniques, where is this going, some of the deeper philosophy of OpenAI. So we spent 2 hours on this call together looking at all these films, and I've taken that 2 hours and condensed it down to around 40 minutes or so. Helena is taking the same footage and creating an entirely different video, which I believe will be longer, and there's some conversation with me that I'm not putting in here on mine because it's a little self-serving, but it will give you a little bit of insight on why I do what I do if you care. In my version of the video, I am not showing as many samples as we actually covered in the full call, so I know that Helena will have some things that I don't. And we're not showing the films in their entirety. We're just showing enough to give you an idea of what the filmmaker was up to, or perhaps Helena or I have something in particular that we like about a film that we might want to point out. The general idea is to demonstrate the capabilities of AI in terms of filmmaking, but also keep in mind that even though this was just done in February, the tools have already advanced tremendously. And as I was watching these, I'm going, wow, if these same filmmakers had the tools that are available today, what they could have done in that couple of days would be amazing. So as you watch these with us, I invite you to remember this is technology that is rapidly advancing, and that state-of-the-art AI videos would have to basically be made today to meet the exacting standards of some viewers. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to say in terms of an intro. Let's just meet Helena. Hi, Helena. It is so nice to be able to introduce you to my audience, because I know that if they've been with me for a while, they've heard me talk about OpenArt a lot. And a lot of what I like about OpenArt is my relationship with the people over there. You guys have been so great and just fun to work with, and we have a very similar mission. So I wanted to let them meet you because I figure we're going to be talking on an ongoing basis, and we got this really cool thing we're getting ready to do. Tell me just a little bit how you got into the AI space, what your background is, and how OpenArt came to be.
I'm Helena. I used to be an electrical engineer, and the reason why I chose to study that was because I'm really into gaming and I love things about computers, technologies. At OpenArt, we're seeing really new technologies being applied to all these industries that I'm most interested in, especially gaming, filmmaking, entertainment, and all these things.
When we first met, I did not know that you were a gamer. And I am very excited about when AI and these games start to intersect more, because I'm a big VR fan. I love it. I used to do tons of VR. If you go back further enough in my channel, there's a ton of me doing filmmaking in VR. I think that's one of the things that drew me to OpenArt, is because early on I realized that you guys are passionate about the same aspect of AI in the creative space. All of the tools that you guys have been putting together are aimed at making it easier for people like me who like to do that stuff.
I think that with this film hackathon and all the films that we're going to be watching today, it's like a peek into that future. The reason why we did it this year was just because this year is going to be huge for AI videos, where AI is not the villain.
It gives access to this crazy amount of creative expression to a person who just has the imagination, but not the money and the tools and the resources to do a film. And while I can understand why people in the industry would be bitter about that, that again is the way of things. Sorry, it's always been that way. You know, so it's the earlier that industry embraces it, the better off they're going to be, right? Instead of fighting it. And at the end of the day, if it's crap, it's crap. You know, to have been a kid who's always wanted to be able to make films, but like, how am I going to do it? How am I going to hire all the actors and blah, blah, blah? How is that ever going to happen? Now to have an idea and be able to visualize it in like 30 minutes, put something together 2 or 3 minutes that tells a full story and has an arc and the whole thing and is cinematic. And what a great way to pitch an idea to maybe a real film studio that could actually get it done or whatever. It's just an exciting time.
But that's what keeps us going. We have people telling us every week that they were able to do something that they couldn't before without AI.
I would like to know a little bit more about what the hackathon was. What was the intention? It feels like there was a theme around dancing, because there's a lot of that going on. Just give us a brief rundown of what this was about, what the goal was, and how it worked.
The theme for the hackathon was Dance and Life, and it tries to explore motion, where motion it's not just dancing moves. It could also be like the moving of cameras. It could also be even just the motion through time. There's like a lot of different understandings for motion, but we're trying to explore that. And I also just think that dance is a really hard topic for AI to solve because we all know that it's almost impossible a year ago to generate consistent dancing motion videos. We're a lot better this year. We can have a lot more of the better movements. This year, we're combining a lot of the traditional non AI filmmaking editing means with AI means, and we're already starting to see a lot of new creativity and productivity going on. But we can kind of see the trend. They actually had the hackathon 3 years ago. I can't really imagine like what it must have been like because 3 years ago there was barely any tools that people could use. And AI was probably like 10-20% of their production 3 years ago. But now it could be 50, even up to 80, depending on how the person wants to work with AI. This is one of my favorite videos that I want to show. Obviously, I've watched most of these videos because I had to judge them.
Mhm.
And this video, well, okay, I don't wanna spoil too much. Let's just watch it.
The city never missed a beat. Choreographed pleases and thank yous, synchronized steps, and smiles that never waver.
Can we pause it there for a sec? So this is a hard one to follow up. This is a really good one. I saw this one too, and this is the one that I think is among the most like technically up to date. You know what I mean? It's like it really has. They nailed that Pixar look. It's got the vibe. It's got the feel. You can tell these people know what they're doing.
It was a team of students from NYU, and I couldn't tell this was AI because I think this Pixar look, they nailed it.
Pixel! What's wrong? Did you break it, Pixie? Is it broken? Oh no.
Their turns too sharp.
That sound effect of the eyes blinking, I think that was awesome. This entire video was just so well made in that like its production level, they nailed the audio. And oh, that touch on like the blinking eyes just really got me when I was watching it for the first time.
There's a few things that set these things apart. And sound is one of them. The proper use of sound and then voiceover. I think they retrofitted the verbiage to the mouth. I don't think there's any lip sync technology going on here.
Yeah,
They got what they got and they said, well, let's just have it say here and we'll fill in the gaps with the narrator or
yeah,
whatever.
and it's much easier because it's kind of like Pixar claymation. You don't really have to lip sync that well. But then also you could see some AI artifacts, like this is a really weird way to be driving the car.
Oh, sure. Yes, you're right. You're right. I didn't catch the backwardness on that.
It's less awkward because it's like a Pixar style.
Right. Anything goes. It's whimsical.
Yeah.
Their pause is too long.
Yeah, the look of this is so. I love the the little felt and thread look. That's a strong one. The way that I've approached these films and what I'm sharing is because I look at things from this aesthetic and technical point of view. Sometimes it's not the story so much or any of that, but what they did, the approach they took. It has a technique that I think is interesting or in some other way stood out. I'm going to share one now that I like for specific reasons. And a lot of it is because ever since AI and AI art became a thing, I've had people talk to me about illustrating children's books and things like that. And there was always a consistency problem. And then I talked to people about like doing cartoons and there was consistency problems. But the look of a children's illustrated book brought to life, done well, is something I don't know if people know they want it, but when I saw this more than just about anything I've seen, really felt like a children's book come to life in a really visually nice way. And that's why I'm choosing this one. So let's just watch a little bit. So it looks so hand painted. Maybe it was. Maybe these are photos of hand paintings, but it is an amazing style. If these are all AI generated, whether it's a text prompt or image to image or whatever.
I feel like you can tell there are little bits of like things that the artist wouldn't put in there if they were hand drawing this. For example, there are lights on these houses. They don't really look that reasonable. They're like random little lines of light. Like it's not really a reflection or a window.
I'll look at an AI image that I've created of like a person 20 times and not notice the hands are messed up because I just see the whole thing. We're so attuned to looking at AI, and I'm always looking for problems. What's wrong with this? I mean, I love looking at what's good with it, but I can't help but notice how the tech is going to get better or how it could improve. But all throughout this, it just looks next level and super high resolution, and just the colors are great. This one stands out to me visually as well.
This video was just really interesting to me. It felt like something that wouldn't really be impossible without AI.
You're right. It's made possible by AI. Those cool transitions, but they're really interesting. They're not like blurry, and it looks top level pro good stuff there. Interesting. Maybe some blur with really super fast motion, but also it really made a point.
Yeah, like
Whoever put this together and conceptualized it is brilliant.
this must have been a lot of work. I mean, like both of us use AI a lot. I can't imagine how much time they must have put into this.
And how many like retakes and how many generations they must have gone through to get like that kind of walking from that scene to the other. Whatever you're using, that's tricky. I wondered a couple of times, is there any real set involved? Are there any real people? Okay, this concept was fairly cool, and for the most part, the character stayed consistent through. There were a couple of parts where he seemed like he was a different guy, but let's just watch for a second. Like, I like the look of this.
Where am I?
You are on trial, Yi.
I don't understand.
The audio is good.
What am I being accused of?
Non-existence. Your life is reduced to pixels, numbers, and metadata.
There's this consistent visual theme of him standing in the middle and this aisleway going down.
Or were you simply watching yourself from the outside?
I appreciated what they were doing visually. It's looking more cinematic and not necessarily all AI. Again, sometimes what happens with a lot of these is there's a lot of slow motion and we're hanging on to a shot for a really long time, which in a real film and real TV would be moving a lot faster. At first it was cool because everything's so dramatic and seems like a movie trailer. But when walking into the kitchen is in slow motion, it's like, okay.
Most of these people had to generate like images and then turn them into video clips and then put the clips together. So you get this like really just slowness to the film. What I do know about this film was that it used OpenAI's consistent characters. I do know that they generated this Yi character just from the description.
Okay.
And he remained consistent throughout the film. Pretty awesome. I want to share like a more photorealistic version.
The dance of nature is an ancient rhythm. gentle, persistent, and profoundly interconnected. From the winds that caress the tallest peaks to the waves that cradle life in the depths, every motion contributes to an unspoken choreography of harmony.
It looks so real. It's
Yeah.
actually like a documentary, and it starts talking about the slaughtering of dolphins. So there's a really strong message there. But then just this documentary that's AI made is pretty crazy to me.
Yeah, the first time I saw this, I said, this is what I'm talking about. Now, the only thing I would have loved to have seen was more movement in the guy's body than just his head. That would have added a whole other level of realism to it. But I think it looks like they're using runway or something like that. But it does look natural, and I love the concept, right? And there's nothing crazy about the imagery. It looks very realistic. It looks like a documentary. This is another one that I love the visual style of it. And that alone is really why I'm sharing it, but let's just look at this one. Something about that type of spaceshippery and those buildings appeals to my inner. The style of the characters, whatever they've done, it definitely says AI all over it, but it almost feels like a mixed media type of thing. It's so illustrated in the front, but there's a photorealism about the faces. I really like the vibe it has.
I really like the aesthetics. You don't really see much cyberpunk that isn't blue and purple.
Right. I think that's what it was. It was like that use of orange, you just want to get in there.
This city moves like a perfect river.
What happens if you stop moving?
The city forgets you exist.
So a lot of really abstract concepts thrown out in AI films. Because one of the things about AI is that, and I know certainly for me and stuff I've never share online, it's a great place to explore everything. I'm a pretty happy person. I don't watch horror movies and stuff like that. But in AI or whatever, all bets are off. It's like I will explore the darkest of the shadows because I'm more in control of it. It's not like it's happening at me. It's like I, as the creator, am orchestrating this, and it makes me feel more in control and at peace with it somehow. But also, just from a personal self-exploration, it just gives you a different way to look at what's going on in your head.
Yep. I do feel like AI makes you want to explore sophisticated things just because now you could.
And when you're using it with like an LLM to explore even concepts that you couldn't think of, or to help you create a prompt for a visual that you don't have, it's in here, but you can kind of brainstorm with chat and then let it come up with some prompts, and that's it, or tweak it. It's just an amazing time for a creative who would normally have to have such a team, like an unfathomable team, to do what a single person with some imagination and a little bit of time can do now.
Yeah, in a few days.
Right. Or even an hour, even on your phone, because a lot of these AI tools you can access from your phone. And literally, while you're on a road trip, you can create a freaking movie trailer with soundtrack and voiceover and everything. It's a great time to be alive.
Great. Well, because we were talking about a lot of sophisticated things, so I wanted to turn things around. I love this video.
Yep.
There once was an armadillo named Chieftain, who had a ridiculously soft shell. His shell was so soft he couldn't even roll over without his body being cut into pieces by the blunt surface of the earth. He was a dancer, though not by choice. Each step, every turn, a waltz of careful movement, a delicate choreography to protect him from the dangers of the world. This being a very strange problem, Chieftain never bothered to bring it up. Then, one day, as fate would have it, he found himself wandering behind a Texas diner, where everything moved with its own rhythm. Plates clattering, grease popping, waiters tossing flapjacks in effortless arcs. Just as our armadillo was about to pass this restaurant, a freshly flipped flapjack sailed from a window and landed on his sensitive back. Sizzling hot. It stung at first. But after a few days, it hardened, became a sort of new shell. And so, the problem Chief Tan had never really mentioned to anybody simply disappeared.
First of all, visually, it's kind of like the first one. They've created a really great little character, very expressive, all that stuff. The look is great. It's kind of like the story itself reminds me of something that like a 3-year-old would say. Yeah, I got a story. So there's this armadillo and he's squishy and then a pancake is on him and it gets hard and that's it.
It felt like a parent just like turning their kid's story like to life.
And I don't know, a pancake fell on him and it got hard and so it wasn't a problem. Now go to bed. And then he said, I'm going to make a video out of my story, and which is another really fun thing.
Imagine if your kid like just randomly said a story and you turn it into a little video.
Or make it a Christmas present. I use AI video for gifts, the way that you can bring old photos to life, the potential for creating things that are really meaningful, like gifts for people that you put your heart and soul in. You make things for people, it means something to them, is to me no different.
Actually, OpenArt's designer, her name's Amy, she recently made a birthday video for her grandma too, like the grandma in China. And she was so blown, like she was put into like the Olympics, she was ringing a bell at like NASA.
Yes.
She was like scuba diving and all that, like she got those things, a lot of things that she can't really like physically do anymore. And she was just looking at the video and it's such a warm moment. Oh, I remember this one.
It's so cold outside today. I just rode my bike to get a cheese dart and my hands nearly froze. Suddenly I want to write you a letter, so I probably won't send it to you right away, maybe someday in the future. This way I can just write without getting my head about it. You know how good I am at overthinking.
Immediately I related to the concept.
You know I don't really like going out. Sometimes spending the day in this cramped house feels just like sitting through a 12-hour flight. The whirring of appliances sounds like plane engines, and I often find myself trapped in this not-quite silence.
Again, when you get somebody who knows what they're doing with visuals and stuff like that, it just is a whole other level. And that's what I'm saying. That was to my point at the beginning about people getting freaked out about AI. I mean, yeah, everybody's doing it, and some people put out crap, and people say, well, it's crap. But it's only because it's crap in the hands of people who don't know how to do well. So eventually the people who don't know how to use it and don't do well at it will stop using it. And the people who are into it will get better and better and produce stuff that is really, truly interesting.
Yeah.
Now here we are, way beyond just creating a crude looking image with a text prompt. And now we can create every aspect of a film. And it's not like you have to go to film school. People will whine about subscriptions sometimes. I'm like, do you know what it would cost to even do the first 5 seconds of what you just looked at traditionally? Way more than any subscription out there. If you're serious about this, then subscriptions to these things should not scare you, because what you can do with this $100 or a couple $100 a month thrown at subscriptions is incredible if you are a working professional. If you're not, then why are you complaining about the price? Oh, yeah. You're not doing anything with it anyway. You're not going to get any return on investment, so $1 is too much for you.
This type of stuff is still going to cost some money, like for a while, but I feel like one day this could be probably as cheap as nothing. This video is a little special because it didn't end up being one of the participating films because the creator couldn't finish this in time. He calls himself a full-time escape artist. I found this video about a week later on his Twitter. And he actually started making this during the hackathon, but then ended up being like a music video. So this is actually his own music video. Like he made the music, like he rapped it.
The problem with coasting through life is that the current moves way faster than any of us ever imagined it to. And eventually, you're just stuck, living in the past, with nothing but your intrusive thoughts.
Deep down, we all wanna be a part of something that's bigger than us. We drown in our insecurities, ego and stuff. People not sure jumping in like the beach is enough. Can't swim, I just learned to float, but the breathing is tough. Everybody wanna stop waves, too good to be another drop in the ocean. So they rather slow drip into a bucket away from the current.
I'm so glad you brought that one to the table. First of all, what would have ruined that is if the voiceover had been AI. That's what lends so much to it, is his legit, real voiceover of that thing, and it carries you through the visuals and just the whole thing.
I'm into hip-hop, like rap and stuff. There's this style that's so great. I think this is also just the trailer, and he actually has a full music video coming out, and it's probably coming out in April.
I wonder how long it took to put that together, but we know it's a lot longer than if he had gotten illustrators and animators and done it any of this stuff the traditional way. I'm going to share this one, and it actually sort of relates to a conversation we were having earlier about making gifts for older people or whatever, taking old photos and bringing them back to life. And this addresses that concept pretty interestingly here.
What is your favorite photo of all time?
Like the documentary one, it does a good job of making it seem pretty real. I don't think most people would think this is AI.
I was a singer, traveling the country on tour with my band. One hot summer in Brooklyn.
But again, see if they had a real voiceover of an older man, it would have been perfect.
And everything changed. I fell in love so fast. Like a song that writes itself. Before I knew it, I wasn't just a singer anymore. I became a poet, a dancer. That summer was the happiest time of my life. Lately, I've been dreaming of her a lot. Like she never left. Like time never moved. Every photo of her is my favorite. Because in them, she's still here. And we're still dancing.
I've been a sailor, a surfer, a lifeguard. And now I'm a full-time fisherman. It's hard to pick just one photo. Everything out there is beautiful. My favorite moments are when I'm in the water, and it feels like my body and the ocean become one. The waves rise and fall, like a rhythm that guides me. It's a freedom I can't really express with words. Just like how the frames of a photo are too small to hold the vastness of the ocean.
Like, I would not have known it was AI. The only thing that says AI is the slow motion, the voiceover, and when they flash back, he's talking about how he used to be a lifeguard, and it's clearly like a 90s lifeguard or 2000. So that's a little bit of a cognitive disconnect.
Yeah.
But conceptually, though, which is what this kind of thing is about for the most part, I love the concept so much, and whatever that music was, just really, for whatever reason, hits me right.
I thought the pictures in this film were just real.
I love the idea that we can push visual limits and do fantasy and fantastical things. I really like to make things look as real as possible. And so things that do that well are the most appealing to me. And now that we're advancing, when people stop going slow motion, when they start using more realistic, whatever, that's where it's going. It has to be, if it doesn't get up to at least Hollywood standards, then they're never going to really accept it. It has to be at least that good.
You can tell from this film that like it's not about AI being trashy. It's about the creator being trashy if we're annoyed by trashy AI content. Like this film is about 4 old people and their favorite photos, and then it explores their lives. There's this touch to it that's very personal. You can see through this film what kind of a person the creator could be. You know, AI is helping you achieve that.
Right. Again, it's in the hands of the right person with the right story and the right message. And patience, a lot of new people to this. Like if you've never done any kind of creative production before, like I have a whole history of traditional video and audio editing and music and all of that. So I appreciate how amazing this is. But if you're just brand new, if you've never created before, everybody just wants to be perfect right now, which that's just human nature. Let's check out this one here.
Once
Play
Amy's life,
a little bit of audio.
it was
and
her
then we'll
language,
just
her way of
mute it.
expressing herself. But now, every movement is bound by pain. She tries to hold on, to return to the stage, but reality tells her that everything has changed.
So maybe you know, because I was curious about the movement in this, like how the movement itself was captured, because it looks like it was, at least for her, motion captured by a real person.
I think it's AI. I think they probably rerolled a lot of times to get some natural movements.
Well, they did a good job because I couldn't tell, and when I can't tell, I get really intrigued.
I remember in this story, she's a dancer, she's injured, and then this
Yes.
bot helps her find ways to dance again.
And there was another one that had a theme sort of where the teacher had lost her mojo. Like she kind of lost it, and then some girl came in a wheelchair and then she was inspired by the movement that this girl did from the chair. So there's a lot of that theme too, like how some sort of salvation through dance. But that picture there, I thought the AI prompted the movement from, I don't know if how much of it was generated, but I like the visuals in this, the realism and the interplay between these two. But like this dancing though, I mean, if they prompted that, that's like that I can see. But like some of this stuff, that's so specific right there. But you can see her hands moving around a little bit, like AI wise.
I think this one was one of the best ones with actual people dancing, because a lot of the other films, the dance theme are more abstract.
That's why I couldn't figure out how they did it exactly.
I do know they trained consistent character on OpenArt.
For her?
Yeah, maybe they generated like poses and then.
Oh, did like a start and end frame maybe?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I really liked those parts with the overlay.
Let's go back and look at some of this stuff here. There's a lot of post-production here combining these elements.
Yeah.
But this had a different look that other people weren't doing. So this is one of the earlier ones that I saw. And there's just something intriguing about the art style. It's very consistent. But it's a little frantic after a while, but... And of course, I can't understand that. I'm not even clear on the story.
I think they're actually speaking like the Shanghai dialect in this. That's a smart way to like break the language barrier. You can just speak whatever you're most comfortable in and then have subtitles. But I think it's a cultural video that shows the cultural side of their family and childhood.
So it's sort of talking about that kind of stuff. I was looking at the visuals so much I didn't really like that from the inside of the mouth.
Yeah, really cool. Very abstract.
Like who thinks of that?
That's really cool. So this one, the AI process behind this is very interesting. They trained a style model. I think actually more than one. They probably had like 6. I know they like iterated even like on the style model.
So, and they built this on OpenArt?
Yeah, they built this on OpenArt. I have a another really weird one. I feel like there's just such a fun use of AI because fish turns into this weird fish human thing with legs.
And this is another one where this year, if they were to do this and take this on, and you wouldn't have so much like the tearing and the extreme movements.
And they start dancing. It's just like, who comes up with this? Like, and it's just hopping. Also, probably because I'm into gaming, this very much reminds me of Minecraft.
I would love to know the technique on this one because of how the dinosaur is following, like what's going on. But there's clearly AI going because I recognize the movement style.
I have a feeling maybe they just animated like the element, like the dinosaur is an element and the fish is an element, and then they edit it. If you look at that shot, right? It almost looks like the hopping. They could have used AI as an animation tool.
Just to create those little elements. I've seen a lot of people with the special explosions and stuff like that you'll then key in over something.
Because if you look at the camera movement, it looks like traditional, like this part. It looks like they built this 3D environment and then just panned the camera inside.
Do you think we're looking at a 3D rendered scene here? And then we're supposing that maybe some AI elements were superimposed?
Yes.
That's cool. See, I like that. It's a use case of traditional filmmaking techniques using AI as the tool. So you got your backdrops that you can put however you want to, and then drop this, and then do take after take after take of the element, so you get to just the element right.
I think it's still a lot easier to animate things this way because I'm not in the space, but I know that animation is one of the most costly things to do.
Yeah, there's so many different ways to combine the tech. Using something that will easily crank out a model, a 3D humanoid model, and then AI on top of that. Do an image to image or whatever and take this generic model and now it's a person or whatever. You're using the 3D program to get the motion, but then everything on top of the motion is AI. You can tell when an amateur beginner like me are working with these tools as opposed to a filmmaker who knows all the rules about structure and all of those things. And they're using the same tools, but they can create something that lands totally differently just because of their knowledge and experience with, telling a story properly or whatever.
But then I think with a lot of like more casual content creation, it could be like one click. I could see that.
Where it's like here's the story, go.
Yeah, we're trying to build that with OpenArt. Like, I think it's going to be a really cool thing to experiment.
As long as the stories that are generated ultimately are editable, then because I mean it just depends. If you just want a quick novelty sort of one shot social, because there are tools that are trying to do this, and I'm still waiting for the one that looks great, you know, from the beginning to end. It tells a good story. The characters all look the same all throughout. There's some that are getting close. I like having that human element in there, obviously. So it'll be interesting to see what we can do with one click and how engaging it actually is once that initial, hey, isn't this cool? We did it in one click, wears off. You know,
Yeah.
we want to end this with this last dance.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Can you tell me where I went wrong?
That's not it. You're dancing all wrong. I'm dying.
I am attempting to find an answer to correct my error.
Daddy?
Take this piece of junk away.
The program is perfect.
No. Completely wrong.
What's this deal with being so mean to AI? She's trying. Take this piece of junk away. What?
ChatGPT helped them generate this plot. So yeah, there is this like AI element in there, because if you're like, hey, I'm doing like an AI filmmaking hackathon, like help me generate a plot, then AI always tends to give you something that talks about this topic of human and AI.
Yeah.
But it's quite fascinating if you think about AI gave you this perspective. Hey, like if I were human, what would I do? Is that really how AI thinks? Like that's quite fascinating to think about.
Yeah, that answer is lurking around in there somewhere for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, what did it learn about how it should respond to something like that?
I know.
You know, it does tend to fill in, just like this robot, it's trying to figure out how the human emotion really works. And it knows tropes and patterns of, like, this is what an emotional arc looks like, and these are deep subjects, or this is contemplate, whatever. And it's just doing its best to give us that. And it still, I think, has a lot to learn about more nuanced human emotion and stuff like that.
You're actually trained by what you've seen and the people you've interacted with. Like if you had like 10 relationships, you come out as like a different person. But then each person you date, you know, does something to you, and they kind of like train you in a way. So yeah, in a way, we are not that different from models. And it's also kind of funny how like AI thinks they're perfect. They're not.
This has been great. So much fun. I really enjoyed like exploring the concepts. That's what I was looking forward to the most, was let's have a conversation about AI in general. I love the technical stuff and where it's going, but the deeper stuff it permeates all of it. So as I said at the beginning, this was just a small segment of the films that were created during this event. And if you'd like to watch these and others in their entirety, I've left a link to a YouTube playlist where you can do that. And of course, I invite you to watch over and jump Helena's version of this video as well. There will of course be some overlap, but if you're really interested in this stuff, between the two videos, you're going to get a lot of different ideas that just are not necessarily in one or the other. We'll get back into playing with the cool tools in the next video, but I wanted to share with you what people are actually doing with these tools. If this is the type of information you're interested in learning about, well, why not subscribe to the channel? Because this is the kind of stuff we discuss all the time.
If you subscribe now, I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you do not, I will look for you. I will find you. And I